Chapter 10: The Secret Realm in the Earth's Interior. A good day has passed and Ramirez has recovered from the shock. He is sitting in the cabin with Billy. They are both cooking the last supplies into a meal. Rufus is lying in the corner and sleeping. John is in the wheelhouse and is looking for land, where they can then go in search of food and drinking water. Suddenly he feels the amulet that Ramirez had given him start to vibrate. He takes it in his hand and sees how it also starts to glow blue. What is going on here, he thinks to himself and looks out of the window, and as if out of nowhere, land is suddenly in sight. How is that possible? John thinks to himself. There was no land in sight. He suspects that this amulet must have a special power. Perhaps this amulet even had the power to bring the yacht into this underground world. John stops pondering and calls out, "Land in sight." John is amazed as they get closer to the island. This island is a floating city. The buildings look ancient, but they still seem to have technology that is far more advanced than that on the surface of the earth. John, Billy and Ramirez doubt that this floating city was created by humans. Their doubts are reinforced when they see the huge unidentified flying objects that hover silently over the city. Numerous smaller flying objects now emerge from these flying objects and fly in their direction. Above the city is a huge sphere that pulsates red, creating the reddish atmosphere in the underground world. It is an artificial light source that allows plants and living creatures to exist down here. John, Billy and Ramirez stand on the deck in amazement and watch the small flying objects that look like glowing balls encircle the yacht. Suddenly the yacht begins to move towards the city without anyone controlling it. It is probably a kind of force field that is created by these balls to move the yacht. John says to Billy and Ramirez, "I think we will soon have contact with extraterrestrial beings." Billy and Ramirez do not respond. The two are so fascinated by what is happening that they are speechless. The yacht is taken to the floating city and stops at a pier. There are other ships anchored there, which look very strange. They are oval ships that are more reminiscent of flying objects. The lower deck is flat and goes underwater. Above the oval deck there is a round disc that looks metallic and rotates slowly like a helicopter. "Those are strange ships," says Ramirez in astonishment. "Ramirez, those aren't ships," explains John. "Those are unidentified flying objects that have their landing place here. In fact, these ships look like flying saucers." After John had moored the yacht at the pier and anchored it, the orbs flew back to the UFO and disappeared inside. John, Billy and Ramirez heard an electronic buzzing and saw something outside the city creating a bluish, radiant protective field that shielded the entire city. "Don't be afraid," the three heard. John, Billy and Ramirez did not notice how this creature got on board. It is a mixture of reptile and human. It has purple hair, the face of a human with bright green eyes of a reptile. The rest of the body is that of a reptile but without a tail. Its voice is soft and feminine. The skin is greenish and covered with reptilian scales. Rufus the Labrador comes over curiously and wags his tail in a friendly manner. "My name is Arna," says the reptilian woman. "Welcome to Atlantis," says Arna. "I thought Atlantis was a myth, and why is this protective shield being put up?" asks John. "You're lucky you're still alive. There are creatures beneath here that are far more dangerous than on the surface of the earth. Not just dinosaurs but also beings of extraterrestrial origin. We rescued you in time. To protect ourselves, we switched on a protective shield. Well, Atlantis was actually on the surface 5,000 years ago. But our species was forced to change location. Atlantis is not actually a city but a spaceship, or rather it was developed as a space station to explore foreign planets, says Arna. Then you're an alien? Asks Billy enthusiastically. I'm more of a hybrid between a human and an alien. I'll explain more later. Please follow me now, says Arna. Ralph, Billy, Ramirez and Rufus follow Arna down from the yacht. They follow Arna into the city of Atlantis and are amazed. There are futuristic buildings connected to glass tubes through which round objects that somehow resemble soap bubbles whiz through. In these objects, John sees living creatures, goods and bluish energy sources. His amulet also glows blue. Arna says to him, "Now I know why you are here. You have one of the lost keys to the city of Atlantis hanging around your neck. It led you directly here." John asks, "If this key leads us here, can it also bring us back?" Arna answers, "I don't know, it is a mystery of our ancestors." Arna explains further, "I will now give you a place to sleep and also something to eat and drink. Tomorrow I will take you to one of our oldest sages. He has studied our past his whole life. He is also one of your race." Sounds good. Agreed. The three and Rufus follow Arna to a building that is round in shape and as big as a stadium. "This building is one of our residential complexes. I will check to see if there is a room available," explains Arna. They enter the building together. There is a narrow corridor on the left and right leading into the building. Arna walks straight ahead towards the wall. She taps the wall with her index finger and in that moment an electronically glowing, bluish rectangular force field is created. This turns out to be a touch screen and Arna looks for something on the device. After a while she finally says, "We're lucky, there's still a place to sleep free. It's bedtime here and everything is normally occupied." John asks, "What do you mean? Don't you have any apartments?" Arna answers, "No. We don't have any personal belongings. Everything is freely available here. You don't have to pay for food, drink, clothes or accommodation. I'll show you how to get food and fresh clothes in the dormitory. This way please." They follow Arna to the right into the corridor. What the three immediately notice is that there are no doors or windows. After a while, the corridor ends with a wall that shimmers blue. Arna touches the wall and taps on a symbol that glows green. The wall disappears and a room becomes visible in front of them. "How is that possible?" asks John. Arna answers, "As far as I know, it has something to do with spatial curvature. As soon as I click on the symbol for the room, the wall creates a connection to the wall of the room and opens the entrance. Please come in, I'll show you everything." The three and Rufus the dog enter the room followed by Arna. In the room, Arna goes to a display on the wall and clicks on it. The next moment, 3 beds and a dog bed for Rufus appear from underground. "You must be hungry. I'll show you how to get food. We have an artificial intelligence that can produce all kinds of food. These are artificially produced with several nutrient solutions, natural flavors, vitamins, fiber and other additives. There on the table is a metal surface that is connected to the nutrition generator. You put your palms on it and imagine, from your memories, what you would like to eat and drink. The nutrition generator measures your brain waves and taste receptors and then puts together the food for you." Billy says happily, "I'll try that out right away." He puts both palms on the display and concentrates. After a good 10 seconds, a glass of beer materializes on the table. John says, "Typical, you only think about yourself." Billy laughs and does it again. 2 more beer glasses appear for John and Ramirez. Billy says cheers and raises the beer glass. All three drink and are amazed. The artificial beer actually tastes like they know it, and the temperature is exactly right. Arne says, the taste is the same, only alcohol cannot be produced artificially. Only yeast and time can do that. If you have to go to the toilet, it's in the next room. It's similar to yours, only here it's atomized by radiation. Close the lid and press the button here. She points to a button next to the toilet. There is a device on the wall there for cleaning yourself. You go there and a tube of rays comes out of the floor and surrounds you. Then water with herbal additives comes out, and with the help of rotations of the tube, which sets the water in motion, you are then rinsed thoroughly clean, explains Arne. If there are no more questions, we'll see each other tomorrow. I'll pick you up then. In fact, Ralph, John and Ramirez are also very tired, and John says, "Thank you, Arne, we'll continue our conversation tomorrow." Arne turns around without saying anything and disappears through the entrance, which turns back into a wall behind her. The three of them and Rufus are very exhausted and lie down to sleep.